Hey, what's up guys, Rip here. So today we're going to be talking about the Trash Taste podcast because over the past day or so, they have been facing more controversy than they arguably have ever faced before. Now, the Trash Taste podcast is a podcast that largely focuses on anime and Japan, and their three hosts are the Anime Man, CDawgVA, and Giguk, who are three prominent channels who have largely focused on anime and Japan throughout their careers. And right now they're facing a lot of backlash for their most previous podcast episode. And as you can see here, they had a special guest that caused this controversy. And that special guest is, of course, Hasan Piker. Now, I respect these three individuals, but I think they massively miscalculated how people would receive Hasan as a guest on their anime-focused podcast in the year 2025. As you can see, the like-dislike ratio on this is pretty much 50-50. 16,000 likes versus 15,000 dislikes. There's over 20,000 comments on this video right now, and you'd be hard-pressed to find any of them that are positive. And almost all of them are talking about the choice of Hasan Piker as the special guest for this because he is a very controversial figure right now. And the irony of this, of course, is that they had him on the podcast about 2 years ago, and they didn't receive anywhere near this level of backlash because times have changed. Okay, there's always been controversy surrounding Hasan, but over the past year or so, there's been so many things that have been dredged up, so many recent controversies involving him as well, that now a lot of people are aware of what he thinks and what he does and the things he's done in the past, and they don't like it. They don't want him associated with anything they like, including the Trash Taste podcast. There are whole websites right now dedicated to Hasan and his goons and all of the crazy stuff he has done, including being a terrorist sympathizer, sharing terrorist propaganda on stream, saying America deserved 9/11, and other just disgusting comments. There's so many of them that it's hard to keep track. And at this point, I'm sure that pretty much every single thing he's done, if someone committed one of those things as a content creator, their career would be over. But here he is, still standing and still getting collabs and being glazed over by journalists on a regular basis. It's absolutely insane. Now, like I said, I think the boys here on Trash Taste, they miscalculated how bad this choice of guest would be received. This happened at the end of the podcast where they're discussing basically how they think people will perceive Hasan as a guest, and that, well, it might have a couple of negative comments.
Yeah. Thank you guys for having me on.
Of course. No worries.
And I feel like this time is less controversial that I'm on. Now that I've been on one time, they're used to it. So it'll be fine.
We'll still get some
we're about to see.
I guarantee there'll be like 5 comments if somebody's like, I can't believe they had him back on.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it was a little more than 5 comments, unfortunately. There's about 20,000 as of recording this video. It's like a day and a half after the episode was released, and you can see a lot of people not happy. This is just a random crop of comments here. Let's read a few. This person with 1,400 likes saying, I prefer my anime discussion not involve a guy who celebrated the death of innocent civilians in no less than 2 different recent modern conflicts and who carries water for authoritarian regimes and celebrates terrorists indiscriminately attacking civilian vessels at sea, abducting their crews, and who still stone women to death for not obeying their every command. Thanks. The next one says, Connor, there'll be like 5 comments like, I can't believe they had him back on. Me checks the comment section. Oh, how wrong you were. The next one says, Tibetan here. Congrats for having a Chinese genocide denier on the pod. Very cool, and unsubscribed. Who thought having Hasan is a good idea? This isn't just a simple drama that can be ignored. That's like saying 9/11 is just drama and then proceed to have Bin Laden or Al-Qaeda members as guests to talk about their favorite video games. You guys seriously brought on a guy that is a terrorist sympathizer, glazed a Houthi pirate in his journalist interview, and watches terrorist propaganda videos on stream. Disgusting. And this person says this is not one of those situations where not wanting to talk about drama means ignoring your friend, getting called out for being a terrorist sympathizer, and then platforming him. This is so disappointing. And the comments go on and on and on and on, okay? It's very, very poorly received. And this is even more ironic and really just kind of paints a very clear picture about how people in that community view Hasan, because things are overwhelmingly negative, and that's despite Hasan begging his own viewers to, in his words, brigade the video and try to basically counter all of the negative comments. This was live on his stream.
Too bad. I get irritated from just seeing his face. The guy has said so many profoundly idiotic things that I honestly cannot listen to a word from him. The brigade is on, folks. Get in and actively counter the brigade.
It didn't work. Can you imagine that? It did not work. In fact, it just shows how desperate he is to try to spin the narrative here, and that just made people look even more ridiculous because they're going into the comments section just trying to argue with people, and it didn't work out. But there were some other controversies involving the comment section, including people saying stuff like this. Funny how this comment section suddenly started glazing Hasan after ripping him apart. Don't think we didn't notice that the top comment got removed. Here's another one saying, sad to see they had to delete so many comments. I like trash taste, but this is very disappointing. Insecure much. Now, there was a lot of comments like this on social media claiming that trash tastes were going around and deleting some of the top comments that were attacking Hasan. Now, this was the official response pinned to the video by Trash Taste, saying simply, we don't and have never deleted comments on any episodes. And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I believe them. Okay, a lot of people will still say I don't believe you, but I generally think they're telling the truth here. Especially when you have a video like this. I can speak from experience. I've never gotten like 20,000 comments in the first 24 hours on videos, but I've had some with like 10,000 videos that have popped off. And I can tell you when you get a lot of comments coming in a short span of time, it completely busts the comment section. Okay, you'll have the top comments, the most liked ones, falling down underneath hundreds of other ones. Some will just straight up disappear. And then you also have situations where some of the comments get flagged. They get auto-flagged by YouTube and they're held for review. And, while we're here talking about this subject, same thing for me. I've never deleted a single comment on any of my videos. If your comment doesn't show up, it's because it got auto-flagged for review and it just never got approved because they catch so many, it's impossible to keep track with these flagged comments that happen over and over again, pretty much every minute on YouTube. But yes, like I said, I think I do believe that they were not deleting these comments, and it's just unfortunate timing. But some people saw their response here, and they're even more angry, and I kind of understand where they're coming from, because we're seeing kind of two main issues everyone's talking about right now, right? The overwhelming majority of people are criticizing the choice of special guest. There was also some people saying that there was comments being deleted. They only addressed one of the two things. They went after the much smaller issue of deleting comments. They felt the energy and need to address that, but not to address all of the anger directed towards them and the disappointment for choosing Hasan as a guest for this episode. It shows to many that they don't really seem to care about the complaints and the wishes of people who are not happy about this situation. So it's almost like speaking on that one issue kind of raised some alarms about the other issue and shows that they don't really want to address it, but they felt comfortable enough and felt the need to address this whole deleted comments controversy going on over the past day. Now, there was also some other stuff I was seeing on Reddit, on their subreddit, a lot of debate, people very polarized about this. Some people were very angry about the choice of guests. Some people tried to defend it. Some people tried to call out some of the things going on, but I saw this part here that was interesting. Under the actual official post here, you see someone saying this, first time seeing a 50% like to dislike ratio on Trash Taste episode, assuming the extension is accurate 30 minutes after the upload, which it's still at 50% all this time later. And then this person says with 112 updates, saying it was the same last time he was on. Like I said earlier, they had Hasan on the podcast about 2 years ago, and this is it. No, they were not received the same. In fact, with 2.5 million views on this video, they only received 7K dislikes. The current dislike number on the latest episode is already over 15,000, double on only about 200,000 views. So about a tenth of the views, but double the dislikes. That's crazy. And of course, the ratio is completely different. 76,000 likes, 7,000 dislikes. It's about a 90% like-dislike ratio versus the 50% from the latest episode. Obviously, things have changed. Anyone claiming, oh, this was expected backlash, well, not to them. This was not as controversial as people thought. This was back, like I said, about 2 years ago. Not as many people had such a hostile view of Hasan. And over the past year, there's been so many exposed videos and things that have come out of the woodwork about him. People are very angry about him, very hostile towards him being involved in any sort of space they like. And I think this is a real demonstration of that. And I think the people on the podcast, the three guys here, they grossly underestimated how much people have a hostile view of Hasan. And I think Hasan is unfortunately realizing that, man, outside his own bubble, a lot of people really don't like him. He's flabbergasted by the number of negative comments. And of course, we're talking about YouTube and Reddit so far. There's also Twitter. So Trash Taste posted this clip from the episode, which people are criticizing this take from Hasan, but I think the bigger focus is how people are receiving him as a guest. You can see here, really disappointing that you guys are platforming this hateful piece of crap on an anime podcast. This will affect if I watch your content in the future, which really disappoints me as I like you guys and have been a supporter since the start. I don't have an issue that you brought on this political joke, but why delete comments? And you can see that was eventually debunked. Expect him to blame DGG again for all the backlash. Man, Trash Taste fell off if y'all brought on Hasan. Obviously discussed here with 4,800 likes. You guys are so gross for platforming this loser, LMAO. Y'all support terrorists now, whack, unsubscribed, and it goes on and on and on. You can't find any positive comments whatsoever. But there was this other point made in the quotes here, which is another conversation about this choice of guest. This person says, guy who shames people for liking Lolly is on a podcast funded by the corporation that publishes Dragon Maid. You'll love to see new reasons to pirate anime. Now, I just think this connection between the view of certain fictional content and having him as a choice of guest on the anime podcast here with these particular hosts is insane hypocrisy. I've had the mispleasure of Hasan, and other content creators have had the mispleasure as well, as being labeled a predator live on his stream over topics involving anime. And now he goes on to Trash Taste, is sitting there next to people like Giguk and the Anime Man. Like the Anime Man, for example, for many years, his favorite character from anime, his waifu, was Shinobu Oshino. And now he's sitting buddy-buddy with them. And there's, like even some of the figures behind him would make him a hypocrite by his own standard. He's used to chastise people he doesn't like over fictional content. I think it's incredibly hypocritical. And if you want to, hear that word grifter, right? People throw around grifter all the time. I can't think of anything that actually kind of applies to that. Then saying one thing is so bad in terms of fictional content that's largely focused on in anime is this terrible, disgusting thing that makes you a predator. And then going on a podcast with people who consume that stuff and acting like everything's okay. That seems incredibly disingenuous. But we would see some quotes trying to defend this whole situation. This person saying their Nazi fans are out and loud. Oh yes, the Nazis who just don't like a guy because of horrible shit he's done and said over the years. And he responded actually by saying, I don't think it's all organic Trash Taste fans, to be honest. So he's not even saying it's a complete misdirection. He's saying, well, it might be some of them, but I can't say it's all of them. I got lots of weirdos roaming the web recently. It's okay to correct the record, in my opinion. They get away with saying a lot of totally ridiculous things. Everyone is capable of making up their mind if they simply watch the stream. Yes, isn't that a crazy thing for him to say? They get away with saying a lot of totally ridiculous things. I can't imagine somebody who's done that and gotten away with it for years and years. The irony is absolutely unreal. And then, how does he respond to this latest controversy where many people are focusing on the fact that he has been a terrorist sympathizer and showed propaganda on stream? You know what he does in response? He decides it's going to be a good idea to make a terrorism propaganda tier list on Twitch.
What stops me from watching them is because Twitch, unlike any other social media platform, has a rigorous application of their own terms of service.
Not for you, buddy.
I've actually thought about potentially doing like a tier list reacting to reacting to that stuff again.
That stuff, huh? Yeah, that stuff. What he's referring to is terrorist propaganda, by the way. But he knows he's in the wrong. He can't even describe it properly, so he calls it that stuff. Well, this whole situation is a gigantic mess, and definitely, like I said, big miscalculation by Trash Taste here. I think they grossly underestimated how negatively people would receive this video, and yeah, there's really not much else to say about it. We'll see if they respond in any further way about the backlash, but until then, we'll just have to wait and see what happens. So that's going to do it for this video. As always, feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comments section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.